Hold up.
Hello, guys. People are joining. Good things, good things. All right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Good. Good. Awesome. We still have 3 minutes, so I'm going to make sure that an email goes out to everybody, which is awesome. Do you guys see Brad's I'm the Boss shirt? I love it. He really is the boss. He is a complete boss.
Well, it only took me like 3 months to have a shirt that says that, but yes, I am.
It took me forever to send him out. It was crazy. And everyone
awesome.
circles like, when do we get our shirts? When do we get our shirts? I was like, sorry, not in this lifetime. I'm just kidding.
You have it. Well, no, in pregnancy lifetime, yes, that was perfectly acceptable. Excuse. I lost internet. Is everyone back? I lost you.
Okay, 1 second.
Cool.
I'm here. I'm just going to post in the group and share the email just one more time because we're all distracted and busy in life. Link to join the financial masterclass that will blow your mind. No, seriously.
Get ready.
Yeah, this is gonna blow your guys' minds, and I'm not even kidding. I say that not lightly. It transformed so much of what I thought I knew about finances. Okay.
It's gonna be awesome. Juice and Austin and Mariana and Dustin. I'm going to hijack you for just a second, Rachel. People type in where you guys are from so I can sort of see where everybody's at. Just because I don't know anybody. Rachel knows everybody, but.
All right.
UK. Sweet. So it's evening over there. Manila. Wow. This is international.
Isn't that crazy? Oh, yeah. So this was one of the craziest things. Let me hit.
Why do I have no sound?
We can hear you.
Very snowing outside and no one can handle it. Yeah, UK doesn't usually get snow.
Okay. My internet has been slow lately, which is not acceptable for an internet marketer. I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to be okay with it.
I just told my wife to kick all the kids off their iPads so they're not streaming anything.
There's no one here, though. That's the craziest part. So I would get it if there was everybody on, but there's no one on. So I'm like, this is not okay. All right, let me just make sure that the click has the right link too. And then we are set. And now it's going to fill out like crazy because lots of people are going to get the email and the post. And we are set. So we've got people from all around the world, by the way, in SMU. It's kind of crazy. I don't even think you guys know this. We have like 500 plus people from the United States, 100 or 200 from Canada. The third highest presence is United Kingdom. And then we literally have people from not every country, not yet, but we literally have people from like 50 different countries in Social Media United, which is pretty cool. And when I saw that, I was like, wow. Because I can't be teachable if I don't know a little bit about their country. So awesome. All right. So Brad is someone, actually, I think, it is 1201. Okay. So Brad is someone who is phenomenal friend of mine. He is also a part of the Social Click. Brad is a part of Russell Brunson's Inner Circle, Alex Sharfin's Scale and Grow Mastermind. And Brad actually is a very humble guy. He doesn't brag, but he really should because he has an incredible background in finance. I could speak to it. I'm not I don't know all of the financial terminology, but Brad, I'll let you go ahead and share a little bit, but Brad is someone who works with clients who have goals of financial stability and security and keeping the money that they earn. It is, and I trusted him because he came to me with a reference from Russell Brunson. Russell, I think I'm allowed to say that. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. I just said it. So it's there. Russell Brunson is one of his clients. Russell's a great mentor of mine. And I knew if Russell recommended someone, then he would be good. And so he's been amazing working with me and Paul in figuring out our finances. Anyone here say finances are uncomfortable in life? Like, it's one of those things. It's like stepping on a scale. You're like, oh, I didn't want to know. You know, even when you think things are good, you're like, oh, that's not what I expected. You know, I feel that way when I step on a scale. Not right now, but in life. I'll be like, oh, my pants are fitting great. And I step on the scale. I'm like, holy moly, that was not what I expected. So I personally feel that finances can be really tricky. And so when I work with someone in my finances, it's a very sensitive topic because it's never been comfortable for me. And I think it's that way for a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs. So excited. Brad, I will let you share your introduction. I shared a little bit, obviously. I am someone who is a client of yours. Russell is a client of yours. You've got a great, you work with great people. So I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Cool. Awesome. I know you were going to maybe stay on or jump off. That's great. Either way, love to have you on. I'll probably ask you questions as we go, but where to start? So yes, thank you, Rachel. We are definitely like what I want. My goal and mission is to change exactly what you just said. The conversation of money is uncomfortable. I'm gonna teach you and show you guys why that's the case, and it has nothing to do with us. It has to do with how money is taught and what's perceived out there. It really has nothing to do with us, and that's what I'm going to show you guys today. Like, if I can have you guys walk away with anything from today, it's not going to be tactics. Okay, we're going to talk a little about this in the presentation. It's the tactics always change. What we've got to get a better understanding of are the principles behind it first. And as we understand the principles, then the tactics become easy, and we get to move and shift and change as those things do, but we stay pretty comfortable with the conversation. And the challenge that we have with money is everybody on this call, like, think about this for people that are other countries, this might not apply, but right now in Utah, it's 11:04 a.m. and you guys are all on a webinar instead of in your cubicles at work or instead of in another boring meeting or whatever that is. So I already know everybody on this group is different than 99% of the rest of the world, because the rest of them had to wait until 6 p.m. to come on a webinar for this. Okay. But what makes money uncomfortable is that when you take the risks and you learn and grow and you expand and you start to become an entrepreneur and do these things, once you become successful and you start having a little bit of money come in and you start to look and say, what do I do with it? Where are you then pointed? Back to all the same people that the rest of the world have to go to. Okay? So this is going to be a presentation. We call it, this is the only financial strategy created specifically by entrepreneurs, and I'll introduce like some of my background to you guys here in a second, but it's by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs, okay? And that's like the powerful, this is the why we're different, is for that, okay? I am going to roll through slides. I'm used to, just so you guys know how we run our practice and how we run our business, it is very different than just about anybody else. We're completely virtual. You'll probably hear my kids in the background. I've got 5 little kids. I'll show you some pictures of them here in a minute. But we run it very, very differently. I'm not the mahogany office, the fancy cars, the suit and tie and that whole thing. Really what it's about for us, it's about results and it's about freedom and empowering the entrepreneur. So we work with clients one-on-one, and we go beyond just saying, here's a list of products and order off the menu, like you would when you walk in McDonald's or something like that. It's all very, very custom tailored. So I am going to bring up a presentation because I'm used to, Rachel's kind of experiences went through hers. As I talk and I'm drawing things out and the conversation's going wherever it goes. But if I don't get a whole bunch of feedback, I've got to have something to keep me on track, or I'll be in left field too much. So I've got a presentation I'll take you guys through, but I do want to put this out there that this is not like I've got some guideposts for me just to keep me on track. But if you guys have questions, I'm used to being interrupted. I'm used to engagement and back and forth and all of that stuff. So if you've got questions, type them in. Rachel, if you see questions that you think ought to be brought up, feel free to jump in. I don't know if we can have everybody jump in and try to ask something, but if you type them in, if Rachel, you call some out or anybody that wants to, then that's perfectly fine. We'll take tangents. We'll go any direction we want to. One question quick, Rachel, when do we expect to wrap up? Like what should be my mental clock for how long to go?
Mental clock is usually an hour, but if people have questions, I usually keep questions till the end because I know some people only block out an hour. So if you can share, share the strategies and the foundations behind everything first, then if you save questions till the end, unless there's something that totally doesn't make sense, but then you can go, you have freedom to hang out with anyone as long as you want. I just won't be there because I'm going to hop into my next call after that. So, but I'll be here for just a little bit at least.
Okay, that'll be perfect. So I'll try to wrap up with at least 15 minutes or so that we can then go around with questions, and I can stay a little longer if there's more questions. Okay, so let me share screen if it'll let me do that. And then let's do my PowerPoint. Okay, can everybody see the screen? Are we good? Okay, should be. Okay, so this is my business partner who's not here. He won the, well, you go get one away. I feel like I won the draw to be the one to present, but he's out skiing and enjoying the Utah snow. So he's out playing today instead of on the webinar with us. But this is Ryan. He's my business partner. Just kind of quick background for him, corporate America refugee. He was the one out there cranking it, 6-figure income, and then came to all the realizations that we're going to talk about today. Was able to start a business, was able to invest and create his own financial independence at the age of 33. A little bit of my background is I bought very much into it. It's kind of interesting because I think I kind of came full circle. I was born into a very entrepreneurial family, but not like what you would typically think, at least of today, as an entrepreneurial family. My father is a third generation farmer on a family farm in Washington State. So his grandpa started it, his dad took it over, he took it over, now my little brother's taking it over. And as I look back on it now, I realize like that's, I think like almost the ultimate entrepreneurial experience is growing up on a farm, because there's a playbook for nothing. And you just wake up every day with a whole bunch of problems to figure out how to solve. And if you don't get them solved, then like things die, right? Like animals don't make it and things don't grow. And so there's like the ultimate level of responsibility with absolutely no instruction of really how it's going to work. And it's just sort of putting everything together. So I grew up under that, but then realized the farm angle wasn't going to be for me. And so I went to school and I got exposed to this idea of, you know, good grades and degrees and things. And I guess I bought into that. So I sort of came back around to the employee side. I was told that degrees were a good thing. So I got a bachelor's degree, and then I started to get a master's degree, and then I needed a couple more, I guess. So I got a statistics degree and an economics degree. So safe to say I like numbers, but I went into that, and that got me into where I started in a Wall Street background. Hopefully nobody holds that against me anymore. It was very, very short-lived. But I had a crazy experience. At least for me, it was crazy. It was 2008. I was downtown New York as an investment banker as everything totally melted down. And that was one of my big aha moments, as I sat there and just for a month watched the entire Western financial everything just melt into a pile of steaming dung. So that like I said, didn't last long. That was I'm out of here. I had my Jerry Maguire moment. I said I'm leaving. Nobody followed me because I was crazy to leave my job in the bottom of the financial recession. But then I started a consulting firm, and by the age of 30, we built that, and it was running pretty well. But I came to a realization that while that's my background, that's not who I am, and that's not who me and Ryan really were. We were both having a lot of success. We were both making more money in our 30s than we really probably could have told ourselves as kids we were ever going to be able to do. But we came to some realizations about what wealth really is, or I guess maybe what it's not, right? It's not the income that we make. It's not the houses that we can buy or the cars that we could drive or the things that we have. It's the way in which we can live our life. And I came to a realization as I was sitting as a partner in this consulting firm. It was 2 a.m., dark outside. This is like 4 nights in a row that I've been trying to get a deadline met for a client. And I realized the last 4 days I hadn't seen my kids, I hadn't seen my wife, because I was up and gone before they were and in bed after they were asleep. And so I realized and said, wait a minute, this isn't what I wanted. I started this and I did all of this thinking that I wanted to make money. But what I really wanted was independence. What I really wanted was freedom. And so it shifted everything around. That's when I met Ryan, and he was looking for the same thing, because he had gone company to company, promotion to promotion, and had moved like 7 times in 5 years. I mean, he was climbing that corporate ladder, and he'd reached the success and realized again that it wasn't about the money. It was about the control. It was about the freedom. It was about the impact. So a little bit about who we are. This is my now 4-year-old. She was a 3-year-old. And like, if I could just have all my kids stay 3, and that would be like the ideal dream. Somebody knows how to do that, let me know, because my kids are growing up too fast. But like, this is really who we are, right? This is Ryan and his boy who just turned 12. They go mountain biking a lot. This is me and my family. We take him to St. George every year, and we have a good time down there. Ryan and his wife. Ryan is not a social person nor a concert person, but he spends time with his wife. So he takes her out and does that. Roasting marshmallows can be definitely a risky business, so we make sure at our family to wear protection. But these are all my kids here. These are Ryan and his family. And then this is the picture. I mean, all the other pictures are great, but this one should give you a lot of insight. Like, I came from the Wall Street world, the partner world of, office buildings and cars and all that kind of stuff. And we gave up all that because this is our new boardroom. And these are the mountains of Utah every Saturday morning, except when there's snow. Ryan and I get up, we go hiking. We hike as long as it takes to get the answers or to talk through whatever we're working on. This is where our inspiration and revelation comes for our business. So anyway, that's a little bit about us. But let's get into what we're here to really talk about and learn about. Like I said, we're here to learn strategy, the financial strategy specifically for entrepreneurs. Okay, but I want to ask the question: why entrepreneurs first? Okay. It's not just because I'm an entrepreneur and I get what we're all, the craziness that our life is. Okay. And the craziness by, like, I'm finishing this presentation, I'm getting on a plane and I land in St. Louis tonight at midnight. I present at 11 a.m. on the stage, and then I'm coming back to Utah, and then I'm driving up to Montana. Like, we get this craziness, right? But here's a quote. So I'm binge reading stuff by a guy named Nassim Taleb. Unless you really like deep stuff, don't feel like you have to read it, but I like to geek out and nerd out on this kind of stuff. But he's got a concept that I really, really liked, okay? He was talking about this when he talked about entrepreneurs. I want to read you something really quick from this. He said, heroism and the respect it commands is a form of compensation by society for those who take risks for others. And entrepreneurship is a risky and heroic activity necessary for growth or even the mere survival of the economy. Okay, and then he goes on to say that he says his dream, the solution, is that we would have a National Entrepreneur Day with the following message. And this is one I believe very strongly as well. He says this to entrepreneurs: most of you will fail, disrespected, impoverished, but we are grateful for the risks you are taking and the sacrifices you are making for the sake of the economic growth of the planet and pulling others out of poverty. You are at the source of our anti-fragility. Our nation thanks you. Okay, and this is the way I look at entrepreneurs, okay? I want to help entrepreneurs because of what they do in the world. There's 2 types of people out there. There's the type of person that sees a problem and then looks around for somebody else to solve it, that they can point at and say, why aren't you fixing that problem? And then there's the other type of person, there's the entrepreneur, who makes that problem their own and takes responsibility for it and goes out and creates a solution. Are you guys feeling what I'm talking about here? Okay. And those are the people that,
Sorry.
Those are the people, right? You got something?
Oh, I just said I'm feeling you.
Okay.
So I'm saying it in the chat and I'm saying it here.
Perfect. I don't know where the chat went. Okay. And like I said, I hang out with Alex Charfin. He's a great guy. And he says this, he says, entrepreneurs are the only consistent source of positive human evolution, and they always will be. Okay. That's why we choose to focus on entrepreneurs. Okay. But really quickly, I want to give you an idea of what we do. Okay. And just like Rachel said, getting onto a webinar and then saying, hey, we're going to talk about money and finance. I'm glad some people at least stayed on. It's not a comfortable topic, but I'm going to try to make it this simple. Okay, this is a clip from the show 30 Rock, okay, with Liz Lemon. So everybody pay attention here for just a second. Quick video.
I can't end up like that. I have got to make money and save it. And I have to do that thing that rich people do where they turn money into more money. Can you teach me how to do that?
With my eyes closed.
Oh, good.
Okay, so if I keep it as simple as money into more money, can we get our heads around that? Okay, hopefully that's, so I want to find how do I see the chat? I'm going to figure out how I see the chat here just a second. There it is. Sweet. Okay, so money into more money. We're going to keep it simple. Now I've got the chat up. Look at that. Okay. But here's the problem when it comes to financial advice. When we start asking the question, what do we do with money? Okay. The reality is this: 99% of the financial advice that is given out there is either misleading, dangerous, or flat out wrong. Okay. I want you to think about that for a second. Okay. And I'm going to prove it because if you think about it, and I was just in a thread on Facebook today. I try not to get sucked into too much because it's just, we all know what a waste of time that can be. But a guy posted it, says, hey, my business is doing well. It happens to be, he has a successful funnel. This is in the ClickFunnels group. And he said, hey, I've got, things are going well. What should I do with my money? And you should see the list of responses, right? Some people say real estate. Some people say cryptocurrency. Some people say stocks and bonds and mutual funds. I mean, you get every answer under the sun. Okay, and this isn't unique to just money. Think about like health and dieting. Like one day there's going to be a doctor in a lab coat, white lab coat that says, don't eat carbs, right? And then the next time you're going to hear somebody with a lab coat with all the empirical research that says carbs are good, right? And then there's going to be someone, don't eat any fat. And there's another guy putting butter in his coffee. Like, how could it possibly be that there's that many different answers for it? Okay. And when I say that it's misleading or wrong, we've got to understand that the financial services industry, just like the medical industry and just like social media management or just like any product that's out there, think about when somebody puts a product together and wants to sell something, where do they start? Okay, they don't just go into their basement and start tinkering and creating something, right? The good business owners, the good entrepreneurs think about their audience first, the person that's going to consume whatever it is that they're creating. And then they create a product designed for that person. Okay? So in financial industry, it's no different. Okay? So all of the and I was on Wall Street, I saw this happen. The people that get around and create financial products are doing the same thing we're all doing as we create products. They think about their intended audience. What are their hopes? What are their dreams? What are their fears? What do they want? And they create a product designed for them. Here's the problem. There we go. 99% of the world are employees, not entrepreneurs. So if we think about the reach of products and the amount of things that are created, who are they created for? Employees. Okay? That is why 99% of financial advice is wrong. It's not that it's incorrect. It's not that like mathematically we can't prove it. It's that it's wrong for you as the entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, we need to be doing things differently. Okay? So this is what I want everybody to understand here, because what I'm going to tell you is going to be things you've never heard. You've felt them and you're going to resonate with them, but you've probably never heard a financial advisor tell you them. That's because there's this concept that we call goldfish advice. Okay? And this is where we get it from. There's an old joke where two young goldfish are swimming one direction, an older goldfish swims past them. And as they pass, the older goldfish says to the younger goldfish, "Morning, boys, how's the water?" And the two younger goldfish look at each other with confused looks on their face and swim a little bit further. And then one of them says to the other, "What the hell is water?" Okay? The problem with financial advice is that because 99% of it is created for the employee, 99% of the advisors giving the advice are in a fishbowl that they don't even know they're in. They don't even know what water is. Okay? So the only advice they can give is what they have learned and absorbed and been around themselves. Okay? So this isn't that people giving you bad advice are bad people. I want to get out there. Okay? They're only giving the advice that they've been able to learn, that they've been able to consume. And the reality is not only is the intended audience an employee, 99% of the people giving the advice are also employees themselves. And employees are this reality, right? They're in a job that they probably hate, a commute that's too long, and traffic that's too heavy, right? With a boss they don't like, and coworkers that they're not really fans of. And so their focus is the reason that they invest is totally different than us, okay? So think about this for a second, okay? The average employee, all employees in January know exactly what they're going to make for the rest of the year, right? Other than maybe some discretionary performance bonuses here or there, employees know how much money they're going to make the rest of the year. So if they want to make more money than what their salary has dictated that they can make, then this is where the idea of your money has to make more money comes from. Okay? Because they can't go make more. They need to put their money to work to go make more money. Okay? That's the frame of an employee. And they want their money making enough money so that they don't have to anymore and they can quit what they're doing. Okay? But here's the difference of us as entrepreneurs. Okay? Entrepreneurs are momentum-based beings. We want momentum. We want impact. Okay? But as soon as we go and take traditional advice, it's a different frame. It's taking it away from us rather than helping us produce. Okay, so we need to understand these differences. And the problem is most people giving us the advice are also employees themselves, or at least of that mentality. Okay. So let's get to this. I'm gonna speed up here a little bit. So we all joined SMU. Like I said, I'm a member of the clique. I get in there and I'm learning stuff and I'm trying to figure out this internet marketing thing. We came here to be internet marketers. And the promise was we get to make money in our sleep, right? This is why I joined Russell Brunson's group. This is why I joined Rachel's group. This is why I do this, is I want to make money while I sleep. We all like that, right? And this is what we're teaching clients to do. So you got to make money while they sleep, right? Okay, and here's the crazy part. What you actually have, what Rachel and SMU actually gives us, and what being entrepreneurs actually gives us is literally a money printing machine, okay? Because think about this for a second. If we have a successful ad campaign on Facebook, whether it's ours or for a client, and we put $1 into it, how many dollars should we get back out? I would hope at least 2, right? Or else it's not a scalable campaign, right? And if we can, so it's 100% rate of return. And if we can do that every month, let's say it takes 30 days for that turn to happen. We put money in, we set our budgets first of the month, and at the end of the month, we've gotten $2 out for every dollar we put in. If we can do that every month, that's a 1,200% rate of return. And then as soon as you make that money and you go get traditional financial advice, what do they tell you to do? Take that money and give it to somebody else. Give it to an investment advisor who maybe at their very best could give you a 10% return. Are you guys seeing how crazy this is? And how backwards financial advice is for entrepreneurs? Like, I have a money printing machine. If I can get 1,200, like if I came on a webinar like this and said, give me your money and I'll give you a 1,200% rate of return, who would believe me? Right? That's like Ponzi scheme material, right? Like, I'm going to jail pretty soon with Bernie Madoff. Okay. That's not how the investment world works. Yet we're told that as soon as our money printing machine starts printing money, we should take it away and go give it to somebody else. Insanity. Okay? So the reality in the entrepreneur's world with money is ROI, or return on investment, is pointless. Never, as we look at investments, should you ever care about a rate of return. Because if you go to some investment advisor, I don't care what rate of return he promises you, my argument is going to be that will be dwarfed by the rate of return that that person could make in their business if they invested their time, effort, energy, and money into that instead. Okay? So like, this is the biggest mental shift. I want you guys to think about this, because everybody analyzing rates of return in that Facebook thread I mentioned that I was talking about, they're all trying to like pick the ones that have the best rate of return. But it's laughable when we look at what our businesses can do for us. Okay? Instead, what we need to be focusing on with our money strategy as entrepreneurs is not the return we're getting on our investments, but the return that we're getting on our attention. Okay? How many people out there, like, how many cool ideas do you have every day? Well, let's make it even simpler. How many cool ideas do you have every hour? Right? 1 million that you can't even act on, right? Squirrel. Okay, that's the plight of the entrepreneurs. We almost have too many ideas and we're trying to run too many things. Like Russell Brunson's group, when I joined it 2 years ago, he spent the first 6 months just going through and telling people, close the other 9 businesses that you have and pick one. And do that one until you make $1 million. One business, that's like Russell, this was, Rachel, and jump in and confirm this. He told everybody, you have to shut down all your other funnels and pick one.
It's so true. He literally will say, well, he says it in a really harsh term, but he basically is like, you need to focus on one business. Focus, 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 focus. If you're not focusing on one, you will never find the success you're looking for in any of them. More businesses does not necessarily equal more money. It's kind of, and it's amazing. So if you can get 1 to 1 million, it's so much easier.
Yes, that's what he said. He had one business make 3 million. He's like, cool, I'm going to start 3 businesses and make 10. And then he started 3 businesses and he still netted 3 million because he gave 1/3 of his attention to 3 and they all got to 1 million and then he was stuck. So it came down to getting focused. So with our money, this is what we need to focus on, is where can we get the best return on our attention? Okay. And I need you to remember this. I've got little kids, so stay with me on my Disney humor here, but in the game of money, we need to understand that as entrepreneurs, we are our own worst enemies with this. Okay, because we always want to be like finding the next thing or trying this next thing. I mean, like think about the skill sets that make you a good entrepreneur. Okay, back to my story. When I was in college trying to get good grades, if I made a mistake, I was punished, right? I got a lower grade. In accounting, it's even worse, like because accounting is a precise science. And it's right or wrong, it's black or white, and there is no room for error. And I got rewarded as an accountant and a consultant for not making any errors. But that doesn't work in the entrepreneurial world. Like we have to be trying and testing and tweaking and adjusting and failing and learning. But if we try to take that skill set and apply it to money, well, it doesn't work the same, because if we make a mistake with money, the money's gone, right? So we've got to understand that we've got to allow ourselves to be entrepreneurs, but then we need a system behind us to support us and help us to sort of counteract the skill set and mindset that makes us good entrepreneurs, okay? So if all of this is true, that the financial advice is not intended for us as entrepreneurs, okay? Rate of return is pointless because we have a money printing machine. All we need to do is focus our attention, and we're our own worst enemy. Then if it's true, what do we do about it? Okay. Now this is where Ryan usually jumps into the presentation. He was a big Seinfeld fan. For those of you in other countries, pardon the humor that, I don't know, maybe Seinfeld was international enough for everybody to get. But so he says you can learn every life lesson from Seinfeld. And this is one of his favorite clips about what we need to do if all of this is true. Okay. So this is like a minute clip, so bear with me, but let's listen to this. I think it's pretty funny.
George, you know, that woman just looked at you.
So what? What am I supposed to do?
Go talk to her.
Elaine, bald men with no jobs and no money who live with their parents don't approach strange women.
Well, here's your chance to try the opposite. Instead of tuna salad and being intimidated by women, chicken salad and going right up to them.
Yeah, I should do the opposite. I should.
If every instinct you have is wrong, then the opposite would have to be right.
Yes, I will do the opposite. I used to sit here and do nothing and regret it for the rest of the day. So now I will do the opposite and I will do something. Excuse me, I couldn't help but notice that you were looking in my direction.
Oh, yes, I was. You just ordered these same exact lunch as me.
My name is George. I'm unemployed and I live with my parents.
I'm Victoria. Hi.
Okay, so what did we learn from George Costanza. If everything we've been taught is wrong, what do we need to do? The exact opposite. Okay? The opposite. So the rest of the advice I'm going to be giving you today and everything that we teach and do with clients, we come back to this over and over and over. Everyone's going to say, man, it's the opposite of what I've been told. That's actually why it works. Okay? So now that we've got wisdom from George Costanza, I'm going to take you through what we call the Entrepreneur's Playbook. And I told you I was going to make this really simple. Okay? Money is simple. When we have the right principles and we understand it, it's very, very, or it can be, it should be very, very simple. Okay? So we put it into these three pieces: produce, protect, and profit. Okay? And even simpler than that, like I'd like to make things rhyme. It's better for marketing. We all know that, right? But really what this is we learn to make money, keep the money that we make, and grow the money that we keep. Okay? This is the entirety of the financial discussion that we need to have. Make, keep, and grow in that order. Okay? And here's where traditional advice starts to go wrong. Okay? I told you I'm geeking out on Nassim Taleb. So if you guys don't do like immersion learning, that's what I do. Like I got every book that he owns and I'm going through all of them like sort of at the same time. And I just happen to be in it. And this topic of skin in the game, which is the topic of one of his books, came up. And I think it's really powerful to understand that right now. Okay? Because the financial advice, like as entrepreneurs, we've got skin in the game with our businesses, with the decisions that we make, right? And because of that, we have to have simple and effective strategies that give us results. That's why you're all in SMU. And that's why a lot of you have joined or are looking at joining the clique, because when we get in and we see results, like Rachel can only keep us in her audience as long as she gets results. Like we get this when we work inside of businesses or we hire consultants or we buy products, like it's all based on results. The problem in the financial industry is while we want it to be based on results, it's not. Let me give you an example of this. Like my mom growing up liked to watch like all the old time classic movies, and she always one of her favorites was I think it's called The Music Man. And anyway, in this movie, this was back set in like the 50s and 60s. This was back when like traveling salesmen were big, right? And traveling salesmen got a bad rap because they could do something that can't happen really anymore. They could come into a town, sell a crappy product, and leave town before information would get to the next town. They could travel and drive to the next town before information could travel because there wasn't the internet and we weren't as interconnected. So they could just move town to town and continue to sell and make money because their reputation would never catch up with them. And in this movie, the guy comes, like he sells these monorails that the cities then build and they're total junk and they just move to the next one. And that's kind of part of the thing. And I thought about that, like financial advice is the same exact thing because they're giving you advice that's like, hey, put money in an IRA, and then 30 or 40 years down the road, you're going to have this amazing result. All your wildest dreams are going to come true, but that guy giving you advice is going to be nowhere to be found. It's the same monorail problem, right? All the advice that's being given in the financial services industry right now is being given by people who are not going to be there when it either works or it doesn't. Is this making sense? They did make a Simpsons episode, Amanda. I was going to reference that. Okay, right? And there isn't skin in the game. So here's what the financial industry does. And this is what happened in the monorail example and happens all over the place. Okay. And this is what Nassim Taleb talks about in his book, Skin in the Game. When you're not paid on results, okay, what they do is just I have his quote here. I want to read it. Yeah, so for somebody not required to be held to these results, this is what Taleb talks about. He says there's no benefit for somebody in such a position to propose something simple. When you're rewarded for perception, not results, you need to show sophistication. Does that sound like financial industry? Does that sound like accountants and lawyers and attorneys and investment advisors? Okay. Non-skin in the game people don't get simplicity because they can't sell you simplicity. Let that sink in for a minute. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to go through this because Rachel will attest to this. What we do is like stupidly simple, but it's because all we care about at the end of the day are results, and results that I'm going to be there to see because we get immediate results not 40-year results. Okay? All right, so think about it this way. Here's another example of this. An iceberg. We know that only 10% of the iceberg, only 10% of the iceberg is what we can see. This is what the financial industry wants to talk about, right? All the fancy, complex trusts and tax shelters and 401k performance and market history and all this kind of stuff, okay? That's the 10%. But they never talk about where the real wealth is created. I can't even draw my little thing down here, right? They don't talk about the 90%. Now, I've got an example. I've got a neighbor who's in my neighborhood who manages money, and I just try not to even have conversations with him because I'm worried I'll literally break his brain. But he keeps hitting me up. It's like, hey, I should manage some of your money. I mean, very nicely and tactfully, he says that. And he name drops people in my neighborhood or people in the area that are wealthy and how he manages their money. And about 8 or 9 months ago, I asked him this question of her cricket sense. I asked him this question. I said, I will give you all of my money if you can answer for me one question. Don't answer for me what they're doing right now. If you can do what your clients did to create the money in the first place, then I'll give you all of my money. Not just what we're doing with it now, okay? So we're going to talk about what the wealthy do to create their money, because that's all we're concerned about right now. Once you have millions, we can go into the complex stuff of all the rest, okay? So, like I said, it's 3 parts: produce, protect, profit. Here's the biggest permission stuff I want to give you for the day, and if you turned off the presentation after this, I think you got enough, okay? In the make money conversation, it is not investing. Okay, if I want more money, where do we go? Do we go to an investment advisor or do we go to our money printing machine? We go to our money printing machine. Okay? Always, we go to our money printing machine. So if you ever come to me and say, Brad, I want more money, say, great, cool. Let's focus on making money. Let's talk about production. And to make money, we got to realize 2 fundamental truths. The 2 single most important investments you can ever make are in you and your business. Okay? No other financial advisor will tell you this, because then they're out of a job, because their job is to manage your money and to tell you how dumb you are compared to how smart they are, and they should have your money. Okay? And I don't just talk about this, I live this. This is the number that in 2017, that's the size of checks I wrote to invest in myself and my business. $164,000. And here are some of the things that I did. I paid to go to this Navy SEAL oriented week-long training where we didn't sleep and we carried logs and they threw us in the ocean. And this was supposed to help me with my mindset. Okay? It was actually awesome. It was amazing. Okay? I did that. I went and saw this guy speak. Okay? Some of you will be there in a couple of weeks, so hopefully see some of you there. Okay? Okay? Oh, Russell Brunson's picture covered up there, but I got to meet this guy. That's me next to Russell, speaking on Russell's stage. Okay? And then these are the people that I get to hang around with. I want to stop here for a second. Isn't Rachel always just incredibly photogenic? Like, I snapped this, like I'm looking like who knows where, right? We got Brian Bowman doing like the suave thing here and Alex all chill. I'm going to make here, Rachel, then we don't all feel bad about how photogenic you are. She's probably not even on, but she'll laugh about it. Okay. So what do we do then? I mean, it's easy to say to invest in ourselves. Okay. But I want to make it really clear for you. And this is the conversation we have with clients. When we invest in ourselves or our business, we do 3 things. When we invest in ourselves, we invest in our mindsets, in our skill sets, and our networks. Do you see all of that in the pictures here, right? Mindsets, networks, skill. Like I've learned from Russell a very specific skill set, right? Networks. We see the power of this, okay? This is where we invest first. And if we have the ability to expand any of those, then we should. Okay, why did I spend $164,000? Well, because I couldn't take on another mastermind group. I couldn't pay attention to anything more. My brain was full, so I stopped. Right? Okay. And then inside of our business, we need to focus on 3 things. I try to make this simple for you guys. Whoop, let's back up. Inside of our business, we focus on marketing. You guys will love to hear that, right? We should focus on our marketing, our systems, and people. Oh, marketing, systems, and people. On the make money side of it, you guys know how to do this, or this is why you're in SMU. This is why you have consultants. And I want to give you the permission that your accountant probably isn't giving you and your financial advisor isn't giving you. How many people asked a friend or family member before they joined SMU or before they joined the clique if it was a good idea? And how many of them got weird looks or very concerned answers of, I'm worried that you're making a bad choice? Just about everybody, right? But it's the best investment that you can make because it's an investment in you, your mindset, your skill sets, and your networks. That's where you start. That's why you're all on a webinar here now, and the people that gave you that advice are at a job. Nothing against them. That works for some people, but it doesn't work for us, right? Okay, so you now have permission to do as much of this as you can possibly handle and generate a return on. How many people feel like a weight's lifted on their shoulder and feel good about that? Okay, this is where we need to start, and I'll support you in this till you could do nothing but this and become fabulously wealthy. Okay. Okay, so let's go through this again. I showed you that. Okay, so the second piece to this, though, is once we learn to make money, and if you stay around in SMU long enough, and if you get brave enough to do something like join the clique, then you're going to get very, very good at making money. And you're going to enter a reality that maybe you can't realize right now. Some of you are starting to see it, but it's a reality that very few people ever get to experience. It becomes easier to make a new dollar than keep one that we already made. Okay, I've got a friend, Brian Bowman, he was talking to me, I was talking to him about this. He's like, you are totally right. When I get my tax bill at the end of the year, I just do a webinar and then I pay for my tax bill. And when I want to buy a new car, I do a joint venture and I buy a new car. When I want to go on vacation, I write an email to my list and then I go on vacation. It gets easier for him, and it's crazy stupid because, again, employees cannot understand this, right? Okay? But I love the comments, Rachel. This is funny. So, but as entrepreneurs, if we just allow that to happen, think about this for a second. Like the average business profitability, once they reach some form of scale, is usually around 30% that the owner gets to take home. Because by the time they're paying, ad spend and employees and overhead and taxes, all that stuff, you take 30%. So if it's easier to make a new dollar, I actually have to make 3 to keep 1. Does that make sense? And again, and the bigger your business grows, your margins actually go down. So if you're at a 10% margin, you have to make $10 just to keep 1. And what we're talking about is this is where I come and start to help entrepreneurs immediately, because most of them, I pay other people to help me to produce better. Okay. Where I come in is I help you keep what we're making, okay? And we need to keep it 2 ways, okay? We need the number 1 destroyer of wealth, and this is across the world, okay? Our taxes. So we've got to be protected from the IRS. That's step 1. Then step 2 is we need a system and a place to put the money that we keep, okay? These are the 2 pieces that we need to understand, okay? So on the tax side of things, I'm going to kind of speed up to make sure we get through this because we're already out of time and I want to get this finished. So paying taxes has little to do with how much you make, okay? Donald Trump proved this to us, okay? But for entrepreneurs, I got to sneeze here just a second, maybe. Excuse me, okay? Tax strategy is not filing your taxes at the end of the year. Tax strategy is what you're doing in May to avoid taxes, okay? And this is what it looks like really quickly. If you've read Rich Dad's book, or the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, he talks about the ESBI quadrants, okay? And from a tax standpoint, this is what we need to understand. If you're an employee, at least in the US, and you're successful, you'll pay about 40% in taxes. If you're successful, if you're making money. Okay, if you're in the S quadrant, you're going to pay about 60%. Oop. If you're in the B quadrant, you'll pay about 20%, and as an investor, you'll pay 0%. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Now, when we leave the world of the employee, if we don't do anything strategic, where do you think the IRS wants us to land? Right here, because that's where they make the most money. So I need entrepreneurs to understand this. If you've quit or you're making money that's not W-2, you are here unless you've strategically done something about it. You actually pay more in taxes. Okay? Tax strategy is about learning how to move from the S quadrant to the B quadrant. And we get to live there. Okay? We want to be, this is at least US, and most countries follow a very similar model, so it may not be exactly the same, but it will be similar drums, okay? Now, you might look at the I quadrant and say, well, why don't we just skip to the I quadrant and make 0%? Here's what I want to tell you. It comes back to the idea of skin in the game and simplicity, okay? Yes, I could put together a strategy for you to make $0. The easiest, simplest way to do it is this. Don't make any money. That's not what we want, though, right? Okay? Or I was actually just talking about this to another client who was proposing to a client, like he had another advisor proposing to him, okay, we're going to set up these 3 trusts, and there's going to be this charitable remainder trust as part of it, and then like all this stuff, complexity. And he would, by doing that, be able to reduce the tax burden from 20% to 5%, which sounded really amazing until I said this to the entrepreneur. Said, your business is about $1 million business right now. And I agree, it sounds very attractive to keep 95% of that instead of 80%. But if I were you, I would rather have my money and my wealth strategy keep me focused on maximizing my return on attention and take my business from 1 million to 10 million. And I'd rather have 80% of a $10 million business than 95% of a $1 million business. Okay? So we start where we can actually make the most money, which is a business. Then our investment strategies, we get to the grow side, that's where this comes into play, okay? And here's quickly how we do it, just conceptually, and this is what we set up with clients, okay? The IRS has created buckets that are taxable, okay? Depending on how we make our money, it fills different buckets. And what we do by business owners, we have the ability to create buckets, like if you're the employee, okay, over here, you've got one big bucket, and the more full you make it, the higher and higher you're taxed. But as entrepreneurs, we have the ability to only create buckets that can only hold 20%. And then as we fill that bucket up, it pours over to the next one. And that bucket fills up, maxes out at 20%, and flows to another bucket. It's as simple as that. We don't have to do things like IRAs. We don't have to do things like complex trusts and charitable remainder things and foreign islands, things in the Cook Islands. We don't have to do that. It's really, really simple as a business owner to just set up multiple buckets. And Rachel can attest to this. I don't know if she's still on or paying attention, but just by restructuring some of her things, we saved at least 5 figures, and I think we might be pushing 6, okay? Just by making sure that her income falls in the right buckets. I've got a client that we just wrapped up. We just onboarded him 2 weeks ago. He was making about $160,000, and we saved him $15,000 in taxes simply by moving him from here to here. Okay? So we can start to see these benefits. All right, I'm going to get moving. Okay, the next thing we got to talk about is then all this tax savings that we have and all the money that we're making, where do we then put it? Okay, and lots of people will tell you places that they are certain you should put that money. Okay, but I learned a lesson. There's a difference between certainty and confidence. Okay, and the person that taught me this, name's Tatem Magali. He's like 6'6". He's an ex-Super Bowl winner. 6'6" Samoan dude, just massive. And he got up really close to me and said, certainty is for the playground. Certainty is for children. In business, in life, you have to be confident. And I don't bring the same power that Tatem Magali does, but it was powerful when he said that to me. And there's lots of people, well, actually, I said that the other way. There's lots of people that are confident about what they do. Confidence is for the schoolyard. Confidence is for kids. Okay, we need to be certain with that money that we've earned that it takes 10 in our business for us to keep 1 We can't just be confident that an index fund or that the market will come back or that tax, loopholes will not change. We can't just be confident. We have to be certain. Okay. So this is why in the protect side of this, we help you set up what we call your vault. And the purpose of this is just a place to store your money. You need a place that can do this. It has to be liquid and it has to be protected. Notice I didn't put a rate of return in there. Because guys, remember, if we want to make more money, where do we go? To our business. Rate of return is irrelevant. But having a place that is liquid and protected, and when I say protected, we're protected from predators. We're protected from, and when I say predators, from lawsuits. We're protected from the IRS. We don't want any income tax on this. We're protected from markets, meaning if the stock market changes or interest rates fluctuate or blips happen that way, we're insulated from it. Because remember, we've got to be paying attention to our business, not what Donald Trump and his economic team are doing. Okay? And then lastly, we've got to be protected from inflation. It means it's when we put our money there and leave it and turn our attention to our business, we don't want that nagging voice in our head saying, man, I know I'm not getting anything for this. Okay? This is what we help clients set up. Okay? I'm not going to go through all the details of it today, but there is an account and there is a way that we can put this together and have that happen. Okay? It's not an IRA. It's not a special index fund. It's actually an account that's been around for 200 years. Okay? It's called cash value life insurance. I know it's a terrible investment. Everybody says it's a scam. And you're right. If you're trying to get a rate of return, if you're an employee that can't dictate how much money they make, yeah, it's not a good idea. Because you need something that's going to do better than that. But I have a money printing machine. All I need is a place to keep it. And it's the only account, at least in the US, that has all of these attributes. Totally accessible, asset protected, IRS protected, market protected, and inflation protected. Okay? But everything I told you is exciting, yes or yes? Yes. Okay? But this doesn't solve our real problem. Because our real problem is this. Our real problem is, even though we have a money printing machine, we know that we have to wake up every day and go to battle. We're the ones that drive our business forward, no matter how automated it is, no matter how systematized or processed it is, we're the ones that have to drive it forward. And that creates a problem that I call you feel hunted by a wolf that you can't see. How many know what I'm talking about? And it doesn't get any easier. Okay? Rachel will attest to this. She went from not very much, just a few years ago, to massive success. She still feels hunted. I asked Russell this as I was working with him. He runs a $100 million company, and guess what? He wakes up every day feeling hunted. Okay? So step one is to get protected. Step one is figure out how to keep the money that we're making. Okay, but step two is we need to figure out, for us as entrepreneurs, we still need an exit plan. Okay? And I want you to think of an exit plan not like employees that are going to quit. I want you to think about it like a parachute. Okay? Jumping out of an airplane without a parachute would be terrifying. Okay? It would be terrifying. Okay? Most people look at us as entrepreneurs and they would just be terrified all day long, just because of the craziness of what it is. But jumping out of an airplane, as soon as you strap on a parachute to it, it changes from terrifying to exhilarating. Okay? I would still be terrified, but there are some that it shifts to exhilaration. That's because we know we've got that parachute. Okay? So in our businesses, our growth strategy, okay, our profit strategy here has to be that parachute. And it starts with a war chest. It starts with FU money. Okay? It starts with enough money that we can make our own decisions. Okay? I'm going to skip through this. And at the end of the day, all we invest for, because now guys, get this clear. If you want more money, go to your business and then just keep it, and go to your business and then to keep it. But that process will not provide us time freedom. So the only time we take money out of our business and invest in something that will get a lower return, and it will, everything I've ever bring to the table will get a lower return than your business. I'll admit that. But it will do one thing that your business can't do, is it will put money in your bank account every month without you having to get up and drive it forward. Does it make sense? So this is the only reason we invest outside of our business. So life is now really simple. We invest in ourselves and our business, and we make money. We pay less in taxes, and we secure the money in the vault. And we do that process until we have FU money in our vault, okay? Because we're gonna access that money in our vault. That $164,000, guess where it came from? It came from my vault. And I took it out, and I invested in my business. But eventually that cycle will get to a point where I can't join any more mastermind groups. I can't join, I can't expand. I don't want to grow my business maybe at some point. Like I know that I don't want 50 employees, okay? So at some point we'll run out of the ability to do that or the desire to do it. That's the point where we can shift to cash flow. That's the point we have permission to invest. So a couple things I want you guys to walk away from here. I'm going to skip this and this. The thing I want you guys to understand is it's time to get focused, okay? I'm giving you permission to do a couple of things. You do not have to invest as anyone traditionally says. There's no pressure for you to do that. The only pressure is to invest in yourself and your business to make money, okay? Investing, and then even if you came to me, I would probably put you off for 2 years investing, okay? Then once we have FU money, okay, so focus on making money in your business. Let's keep money and not feel the pressure to speculate, okay? And then we'll create a clean, focused exit plan based around cash flow. Some of you will be ready for this today. Rachel, you and I were meeting. You're not going to do this for like a year or two probably, maybe even 5, okay? Because you've got massive opportunity and massive impact still to make, okay? And that's the same with you guys, okay? All right, so this is my question to end the webinar with, and then I'll take questions, okay? I want to ask you this. Are you playing all in? Because think about it. It's easy for me to now, after the fact, throw up 164,000 number of what I invested in myself last year. But that's actually the hardest investment I've ever made because I was betting on me. And if it didn't work, that's on me. It's one thing to say it and cognitively understand that we need to invest in ourselves, but it's another thing to actually write the check. And if you've been thinking about writing a check to invest in yourself, this hopefully is your permission to go all in on you, because that's the only way it's going to happen. And I asked this question, if you've made the investment here or looking to make the next one, are you all in? Are you doing those things? Are you strategically ignoring the squirrels and the shiny objects and staying focused on the strategy that's laid out for what you're trying to do? And I want you to do that first. Okay? Okay. Rachel's sneaking out. I'm glad she stayed on this long. I know I'm going over, but I hope this is valuable for everybody. Okay? Now, that's what we do. Here's the bad news. Okay? One-on-one, all I can do is, all I can do is work with so many people. Okay? And about the only people we can take are people in or approaching 7 figures. Okay? That's the bad news. Okay? But this is a message that I feel needs to get out, and it's powerful, okay? So I thought to myself, what if I could figure out a way to do that and not have to be a recluse and only work with 20 clients at a time? Because I'm not willing to compromise on getting results. Like, I'll never be the guy speaking from stage that just has a book and that's all I do. Like, it's about me getting in the trenches and getting things done. But I thought, what if I could have a bigger impact? And I brainstormed. A lot of this came with the help from Rachel, brainstorming back and forth of how do we get this to more people. So this is the good news now. Okay, we've created what we call the Entrepreneur's Playbook Mastermind. And this is what you already have. And this is new that you guys haven't been announced this yet. Okay. But at any group that Rachel runs, I'm giving my masterclass to. So we've got a digital masterclass that we've recorded. This is information only shared with clients that we're taking through one-on-one. It goes into all the detail of what we've talked about, okay? And it's amazing, and we're adding to it all the time. We decided to give that to everybody in SMU, everybody in the clique, Okay, Rachel will get details over the next couple of weeks of how to get access to that. But she wanted everybody to have this so badly that we're going to make that available to everybody. Okay, that's where I want everybody to start. Okay, she's also done this. She's also allowed me to come into SMU in the click and contribute on a regular basis. Okay, think about CNN. Like when you watch the news, they bring on, like, anytime there's, like, they've got their housing market expert and they've got their energy sector expert and they've got their, you know, political pundit expert, and every time that a conversation comes up around that, they bring the same people back in, right? Well, I get to be the financial pundit for SMU in the click. Okay, so on a regular basis, whatever it might be, every couple of weeks, at least probably once a month, I'm going to be in doing more master classes where I get to break these concepts down for everybody. Okay. And then lastly, I'm in both of the groups. So tag me in posts. If you start to have those questions about, wait a minute, I'm getting weird advice over here that doesn't make sense, or I finally have a little bit of money, what do I do with it? Okay. You can tag me in posts and we'll jump in and we'll answer questions. So this is what we can do for everybody and scale with groups like this and at least get people on the right track. Okay. So this is what I want everybody to be happy about and to be able to walk away with. Okay. Now, there is going to be an opportunity that I just want to put out there, that if you're a passionate entrepreneur about what you're doing, so the entrepreneurs that I work well with are ones that are treating it like a job. Okay. That can't wait to just make enough money to stop doing what they're doing. Like, those aren't the entrepreneurs we want to work with. And if you're driven about impact, okay, and you're making or approaching six figures, these are the types of people that we can start to get results for. Okay, like I said, that guy that made $160,000, we saved him $15,000 a year in taxes. Okay, not to mention setting up and securing his vault, not to mention getting him a clear game plan. If you're one of these people, I just want to throw this out there. This will always be around, and this will be talking about as we go forward. We've created a mastermind group with the mission to empower you in the conversation of money, help you build real wealth, and we're focused on getting results. Okay, to have skin in the game. This is what it looks like. Okay, this isn't a pitch. It's an invitation to those that it makes sense for. Okay, we're going to have a community, like a Facebook type community group, where we can have ongoing conversations about what should we be doing on all these conversations around make, keep, and grow money. And it's entrepreneurs only. Okay, or aspiring entrepreneurs, I guess. Okay, they'll have the digital masterclass, but we're going to do weekly Zoom calls, very similar to like the calls that Rachel does in her groups and lots of other people do. That way I can reach and talk and explain things on a group level and expand my time. We're going to get Voxer access set up. You'll get a one-on-one personalized game plan, access to my team and network. So my accounting, my tax team, my attorneys, my insurance, my investments, the whole deal. So not only will you have a game plan, you'll know exactly, and you'll have the people around you, right? The same accountant that we set up with Rachel that saved her 6 figures, 5 figures, okay? And then we're going to have a biannual board of directors meeting where that one-on-one interaction and dedication to results continues. Okay. So if that sounds like you, then you can, I'll just put the link in the chat, I guess, maybe. And again, I don't want everybody to feel like this is a big pitch, but I did want to make you guys aware of what those that are wanting to get results, this is how you can get results with us. Okay. As we can start here, and it's by application only. And we'll talk about being able to roll you in and work with you with that. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to drop the link in the comments so that everybody has that, and it'll be posted in other places as well. I'm trying to figure out how to exit full screen. Oh, keep those. But now let's look at questions and answers. Does anybody have questions? While I get this figured out, how to type this in there. Cool. Okay, so you can go there to apply. But what questions come up for people that are still been gracious enough to hang on? Anyone? So I either did a really good job of explaining it or everybody's so confused they can't even think of a question. I don't know which. No questions. Let me scroll up and make sure there's nothing up here. Okay. Oh, 2 new messages. Okay, so questions coming in are completely new. Is this for me? The masterclass is for everybody, no matter where you're at. Even if you're the employee wanting to quit and start your job, that's where like the mindset training is, right? And shifting over. But I would say that if you're new or not yet quite approaching that 6-figure run rate, then it would just be better, like we just keep things simple and just figure out how to make more money. But then as you start having some 5-figure months and 7-figure months and 10-figure months, as you start to get into that territory, that's where we can start putting things into place, okay? Holly, you asked great systems to put in place. One of the first things I tell you to do is be in a group like this, and you already are. But the second thing would be, as soon as you possibly can, outsource your accounting. It needs to be done right, but it should not be done by you. And that's by the time you're making $50,000 or $60,000, outsource payroll, outsource day-to-day accounting, and get somebody on your team from a financial standpoint. That's a system I can speak to that you should have in place, okay? Norway, so other countries, I mean, basically all the developed economies operate off the same set of principles, okay? So the idea of making money and investing in yourself still applies in Norway. Keeping money still applies, okay? And there are ways, all developed economies incentivize people to own and run a business. So there will always be better benefits by understanding the tax code there. I probably can't do your tax strategy for that, but I can, you'll at least get exposure to the ideas to where you can start pushing yourself in that direction, okay? And then investing, it's the same thing. We don't want to speculate, okay? We want to invest in things that we control, and the only reason we would ever take money out of our business is to create cash flow. Those assets might be different. Again, the tactics may be different in Norway, but the principles are going to be the same, okay? Holly, I will introduce you to a CPA familiar with entrepreneurs. That's a very difficult thing, okay? If you think you're going to qualify to work with our group, you should reach out to us. If you don't qualify for our group, you can look up a group. It's called Profit First. If you search like Profit First Professionals or something like that, that's a good place where they're at least going to be open to the conversation of being an entrepreneur and not being overly complex and having all that stuff go on. So that could be a good resource to start there, okay? But I want everybody to walk away from this with permission to invest in themselves and not feeling like as soon as they get $1, it needs to go to a retirement plan or it needs to go to an index fund or it needs to be given away. It shouldn't. Make money and then just keep it and stack FU money, okay? And then we can have that other conversation, okay? So I really hope you guys resonated with this, got this, and this added some value. And I really want you to take advantage of what Rachel has so graciously partnered with me on to get you this information. The digital masterclass, come to the trainings that we're going to do over and over, and don't be afraid to ask me questions in Facebook or tag me in posts, okay? And then again, for those that are ready, this will be there. We want to grow this over 2017 to have about 100 to 150 entrepreneurs inside this group, moving that conversation forward for them, okay? And if you're at that point, we'd love to talk to you. You can use the link to apply. Otherwise, stay focused on making money, and then when you get there, we'll be around in the future for that, okay? So I went a little bit over, how far over? 10 minutes over. That's not too bad. I usually go 30 minutes, so this is pretty good. So thanks for everybody for attending. I know Rachel already jumped off, so I'm just going to sign off. I think Rachel's, I wasn't in the SMU group. I know she's adding me to that. I'm in the Click group already. They know me there. So hit me up there, watch for the stuff that we're going to put out. And I look forward to you guys really I hope you guys feel the passion I have for entrepreneurs, and I'm excited for this knowledge to empower you to go out and change the world, because that's what I get my high off of. That's like when I see my purpose in life, it's to empower you to go make a difference in the world. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. I'm going to go enjoy the snow here and then be back at it next week. So thanks, everyone.